Guys, I found Hansi Flick's game plan after the game against Real Betis, and this is what I found out. The number one thing that really stood out to me is how Pellegrini ability to stop Barcelona was insane, given the resources that he had. This Betis is in huge form. They run around, they high press. A big parts of the game, it looked like Barcelona was playing themselves because how much they pressure and how intense they love to play throughout the game. So what Betis was essentially doing is they would line up on a 4-4-2, uh, kind of like a Cholo Simeone would, but the difference between Cholo Simeone and Pellegrini is the resources because Cholo Simeone has more players who can attack. They would pick their spots and leave a lot of spacing in the middle of the field. So because of these resources that the Betis have, they would play you more like Getafe would, who have more of a defensive assignments throughout the entirety of the game. So the very first thing is Lamine Yamal is going to play in this area. Kunde here. I'm gonna have Lewandowski, and let's talk about Ferran Torres. Okay, so Ferran Torres, what he would do is he would play a lot of and like this like a free player like around this area of the field like this. That's how he was able to find that goal. But let's just talk about Gavi. So Gavi would play close to Lewandowski. Pedri will play around right here, and then De Jong like this, and these players are all gonna push up a little higher, and Balde. So as far as Betis will play more like a 4-4-4-5-1 in big parts, and they were Cardoso and Altamira would play kind of like a one-on-one situation with Pedri and Frankie de Jong, and they're at the beginning of the game, since they were playing more like a one-on-one, they left a lot of spacing for Gavi and Ferran, and that is just how they are going to find the first goal. So after that happened, because there was definitely a lot of spacing in this area, so what they would do is they would drop the pivots and create more of a clogged up situation. So as we're about to see in the highlights, I am going to show every single main aspect of this game. That's one of the things that they really did, was they really dropped everyone down, and they would put up Balde one-on-one with Anthony, and that's why Anthony also did a lot of created a lot of danger, because Anthony on a one-on-one with Balde, even though he did a fairly good job, I would say he did a pretty good job. Because he had a one-on-one, he was able to win a lot of battles. So actually, Araujo would play on the right, and then Kubarsi would play on the left. So one of the main issues that I thought that we had in this game was not having the presence of Inigo Martinez, because Inigo Martinez definitely plays in this area of the field right here, and he would do a lot of progressions, guys. He's going to do a lot of progressions around this area, so he can connect with players such as Balde, and he would actually make some through balls or some passes, and we just didn't have that in this game. It was one of the reasons why we struggle a lot. Okay, so Betis was gonna come out as a 4-4-2, which essentially was like a 4-5-1, and Barcelona with the typical lineup that I love, which is a 4-2 pivot, double pivot with Frankie de Jong and Pedri, 3-1 essentially. So what we are about to see the first game, from the very first moment of the game. So Araujo is going to find a through pass. He does a very good job in this case, but that was like the only time he did that. I wanted to see more of that, and unfortunately, we just didn't. This is a great play that was a little bit selfish from Pedri, to be honest with you, but we don't normally see that. So when I saw it in real time, I loved it because we need people who can take shots from outside the box, and I think Barcelona is lacking a lot of that. And but as we can see, Pedri could find either Lewandowski or he can find down the wing. He can find Lamine Yamal. And but what he wants to do is he's just gonna wait. Even though he can pass and make the easy pass, he wants to be unpredictable and just every once in a while take a good shot. And that was an amazing shot. So one thing that, but once eventually if they don't attack you and they don't find the spacing, they're gonna make a mistake. And this is where Lamine Jamal comes in. A lot of people say he had a bad game. Well, he did. Well, to his standards, he did. But a lot of people are just harsh. If you don't have an assist, if you don't have a goal, they'll look at the stats at the end, and they're not watching games like this, like you guys are. And at the end of the day, we can see how he created the first Barcelona goal by not only with the recovery, but also dribbling past guys and making moves. And Ferran Torres, he finds Ferran Torres he gets the pre-assist, and Ferran Torres an amazing job of just kind of like pushing. So his area of the field, he's usually supposed to be around here. No nonsense. He wants to go and associate, and that's the one thing he loves to do, and I love it. And then he finds Gavi in this situation. But what I love about Gavi taking a selfish shot here is because, as you can see, there's a chance to give it back to Lewandowski, right, and think that's an easy goal. But no, Nathan does a very good job at closing the gap. So if he would have passed it here, I think he would have just taken it to a corner kick or something like that. He was very, very smart that Gavi took the selfish shot, because I do think that giving the pass to Lewandowski would have failed. And then it was an amazing shot. It was a 1-0 game. So as we can see, Lamine Yamal was very elective in this game. And so we're about to see the goal from. And let's take a look at his body language. Look, what is he doing? He's grabbing the player, which could potentially be a penalty kick. And not only that, but he is not even looking at the ball. And if I am Hansi Flick, I need to show him this play, and I'm sure he will. And he needs to be attacking. He needs to be using his size. He needs to be making it difficult for the player. Actually, the Nathan does a very good job from being held on to do this amazing header that was a good shot. And honestly, the fact that he was able to take this header, even though he was grabbing him, that was just insane to me. Like that, see, he's not even looking. At least you need to use your body. You need to push him out. But the fact that he's just kind of grabbing him, kind of not, but looking down instead of looking at the ball and just going right at it and just make it really difficult. That was easy goal. The Chesney was too close to be able to stop it. This is a play where Lamine Yamal, I'm sorry, for Ferran Torres. You guys know me. I love me some Ferran Torres. And this play, I know he has a couple of players here that he can pass it to, but he's gonna find Pedri Gonzalez, and Pedri was really pressured in this game, guys. He was put to the test as far as intensity wise. I thought that Pedri usually does a much better job of just kind of recognizing what the play needs and kind of what the play should be. And in this case, he's going to be a little bit late, and I think it's in part due to fatigue. Sometimes he'll do like a fake pass, and he'll turn around and find Balde in this situation. And I thought that was one of the telling stories about this game, was just how fatigued Barcelona really was. And you can see how high pressing this team is and how they can get you. You see how the ball just kind of flows, but Pedri is right there. That we conceded this game because I don't think Betis had much had much for attacking wise, because what they wanted to do is they wanted to defend. And the fact that they found that goal that Araujo basically gave them, they went back to their kind of like a Getafe would, and that's the same game with Getafe. And I bet you 1,000% Pellegrini was looking at the Getafe game, and exactly the same thing happened. Where Barcelona got an early goal, and they conceded like right after that. They conceded like within 10 minutes, and then Getafe just did the most Getafe thing they would ever do, which is just play you really, really defensively. And Barcelona couldn't find the spacing kind of stuff. And I think this is where Inigo Martinez really helps, because you can really see Inigo Martinez in a lot of Barcelona plays around this area of the field. And I do think Kubarsi and Araujo, they really stay back a little bit, a lot more, I should say, not a little bit, but a lot more. And Barcelona did their thing. They're going to do a give and go here, and really try to break this defense. And I think Gavi does a very good job, and Balde does a very good job of finding space. But Betis was ready for every single attack that Barcelona was basically doing. Unfortunately, I do think that in this play, though, I do think that if Balde puts the ball a little bit more in front of Ferran Torres, that's a goal to me. Like, instead of the ball being here, if he does a cross a little bit more like in front of the keeper, I do think that Ferran scores. But the fact that he puts it way back, I don't know if it's Ferran was just too early on that play, to be honest with you. So this is going to be a Pedri finding a very good spacing. But I do think that Betis did an amazing job in this area, in this whole area of the field, of just kind of waiting for Lamine Yamal, just waiting for, because they know that he always cuts back. He never takes the shot. He never takes the cross, and they studied him really, really well. You see how they don't sell out, they don't slide, they don't sell out. They just turn around and stay with him. Turn around, stay with him, and that's kind of how they make him struggle. Here Araujo made the foul there, but as we're about to see, Barcelona high pressing really, really works to perfection. I thought that in this situation we could have come up with something better, because we forced them into mistakes, and those mistakes are the ones that at the end of the day should be, we should be capitalizing on. And I thought that just Lewandowski, man, like, I don't know, like, he's just too slow. He stops the offense. He doesn't take enough shots. He took zero shots. According to the stat sheet, Lewandowski had a shot. It was actually the bicycle kick that he did, but it wasn't even on goal. That was like a back to like a cross, and they count that as a shot. I guess it's so stupid. Um, I'm very disappointed. Even though he in this play he did a very good job of pressing the goalkeeper and forcing him into mistakes, which De Jong is going to try to find Ferran Torres. I do think that in this play, had he find Ferran Torres, that would be a goal. He gave it to Lamine Yamal, who made an incredible play there, because the play where Lamine Yamal actually took another shot, then they took a shot, then went spin around and and then took two other players out and shot it again and still couldn't score. As we can see here, Lamine Yamal was just really struggling in this game. They just had the blocks were just really, really, really in good form, to be really honest with you. So in this play, you'll see how Betis just makes an incredible plays, man. Like, this team is nothing to sneeze at. This team has won the last 5 games for a reason, and you can see this beautifully designed play. The Barcelona didn't know how to stop every single aspect of the game, but that same play right there that we just saw is that same play with Atletico Madrid score a goal in the 4-4 game. So I can see by that play design that Pellegrini found his spots and found a lot of plays where Barcelona would struggle, and they really tried to do a lot of damage on Barcelona. Even though I feel like they just didn't have the play between between Lamine Yamal and Kunde was not on point tonight. I do think that no, they should have played together a lot more in this game, but they just weren't finding themselves. And by the time that they would try to do some passes, they were just not doing a good job at it. So this is a play where again, Pedri Gonzalez should have had an assist, but we just keep missing all the amazing passes that he makes in this play. And to be quite honest with you, I do think that this should have been a goal. A very good job at just, you know, cutting inside. But my issue is you could take the shot even before that. You can take the shot like maybe about right here. You can take a shot, and I'm guessing he did just didn't trust. He just didn't trust his shot, and he wanted to shoot it with the left. You know, even though he did a good job, you can see the defender still covering a lot of ground there. So I would say probably like just give it to Ferran Torres. Take your chances with your strikers, man. That's the thing. Like, unfortunately, he misses it, and this is a great shot, like from Gavi took, and it just goes to wonders like what would happen if it didn't get deflected. I do think this is a really good shot, and it was almost a goal. And you know, Barcelona was, you know, a little tired in this game. I do think that you know we couldn't have any of the good stuff. So this is another play where Barcelona high pressing is unmatched, but even though Betis plays like this, they didn't know how to defend it. And you see how Barcelona just recovery here. Kunde does an amazing job on his 100th game, and the fact that Lamine Yamal couldn't find Kunde down the right wing, it goes to show you that he just had an off game because he finds Kunde in this play, like he finds Kunde in this play. I do think that this is so unfortunate. I do think that Kunde would find either Ferran or Lewandowski, and he doesn't find him. That's so unfortunate and incredibly unlucky. After the whole game plan, after the whole perfect game that Betis had against Barcelona last night, Barcelona could still, if only Lamine Yamal, which he does 99.9% of the time, we probably would have scored.